Hey everyone, happy Monday. April here again. Don't stop storytelling. This episode is about betrayal. Yeah, we're going to get into it. This episode is about betrayal, and it may not be what you think. There's different levels to it, I think, right? So, one of the things I wanted to address in terms of betrayal is that um, it's just not, it's an awful feeling. There's roots and sources. Some of them can be you betraying yourself, but it can also be others betraying you, the way that people classically think about it. Um, and within the realm of storytelling, it is a powerful tool that can be expressed across mediums. Like some of the best documentaries are about betrayal, right? Betraying the nation, betraying, our sense of human decency, right? Betraying financial betrayal, like all of these, things, whistleblower documentaries and on all kinds of things like that, right? And they're totally cringeworthy. And then you have some of these sort of remake, I want to call them reality TV series that are, or crime stories that are about, husbands or wives that, committed murder because of betrayal or crimes of passion, and they retrace the steps and those sorts of things. And then in film, betrayal is really powerful because it's just one of the strongest emotions. And it's really, actually, to tell you the truth, it's one of the hardest things for me to watch is when I find like people loved, or they were, connected, or they were really faithful to someone, or to an idea or whatever it was, and then they found out they were betrayed by the person that they trusted at one point in time. That is like it's like hard for me to watch. Like I literally cringe, turn my head, like, leave the room. If I could fast forward, I can't. I just sink in my seat. If I'm in a movie theater, I'm like, oh my God. And so it is, it's rough. And betrayals with reversals and other sorts of writing techniques amplify the power of it, right? Um, doing something very unexpected, or finding out that it was a betrayal on multiple levels, or multiple parties, is really rough. But also, the thing is that what can be really tough in life, or in your artistry, is if you betray yourself. And that's less talked about. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a point in time that when people, it's always good to get feedback, whether you're in the writing process or the production process or even post, right? But sometimes when we can become a little bit too insecure and start asking for too much feedback from too many people. Or I've seen people trust screenings. Yeah, we won't even go into it, but years ago, I used to help I used to help host screenings, and at one point, and you could be deceived by the people in the room, because there were sometimes it was big film critics, other times it was just like people that had been invited to watch it, and they laughed, or the film critics laughed, or they said something really great and then they left, and then it would bomb at the theater, or you people would have in mass a completely different reaction, or you thought, as even going back to being a film student, you thought something was clear, and your friends or people close to you told you it was good, but then let's say a teacher, or you had a screening and it didn't come out the way you expected. And instead of keeping with your original idea, you, instead of, or improving it, you removed it, or you edited it, or you went the opposite direction, um, against your artistic vision, or against your larger wisdom, your innate wisdom. So you can, even in the screenwriting process and shipping your script out to agents and studios, you can get awful feedback, and then find out that, like, someone that had a story similar to yours was either bought by the studio, um, or that film actually blew up, and it was made into a screenplay, was turned into a film, and it was phenomenal, but you watered yours down. So there's different levels of betraying yourself, or betraying your art as well, if you are not confident in the preparation, and also confident in who you are, what you're bringing to the table, your own perspective and your own ideas. It is not always a good, sometimes it's good to ask your cousin, or a relative about their opinion, but they can also be biased. And sometimes you'll have friends that are collaborators or competitors, and they can also give you really awful advice about your project, because they're not really in your corner. And listening to too many people, instead of standing on business to a certain extent, you right, knowing when to turn that valve off, get some feedback, but also when to push it off, push it away, when to kind of divorce what people are telling you and to go with your gut can be the most rewarding thing, because you're also not betraying yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to fail, it's okay to flop, but to artistically speaking, but to make a film bigger or smaller just because you're going by popular opinion, or just because of the budget, can be a betrayal. You might need to hold out. You might need to hold out to do it the way that it should be done. And you see great directors, whether it's a Christopher Nolan or how many other directors, saying, veteran directors saying they sat on a script for years until the time was right, because they didn't want to betray that innate wisdom that you have to have in order to tell a good story. Betrayal is something that, like I said, it can come in many forms, but you want to commit to the work, commit to the vision. And even in the pitching process, and someone is telling you that, oh, can you make it longer? Can you make it shorter? Can you make that? It's good to listen to that, but then listen to your gut, sit with it for a second, give yourself 1 day or 3 days or a week or how long it takes to be like, does this story really need to be told this way? And don't betray your own trust, your innate wisdom, because that's what makes you different as a filmmaker and as a director. That sense of identity, and being able to know, like, maybe everyone else in the world tells a story like this, but this is the way I tell it. And there's a difference in being stubborn and not being able to handle feedback. You always want to be open to feedback, but there's a difference in letting that feedback dominate and control, and change who you are, how you present your story, how you present that wisdom, how you show up and take space in the world. That is something we're thinking about. So in this week or this weekend, this month, this year coming, whatever you're working on, be present and conscious of that, like, man, do I have the right people? Do I have the top 3 people, the best 3 people to give me feedback? And have I cut it off, or am I asking 300? Am I asking 30? Am I listening to every criticism as if it's valid? Am I considering it? Yes. But am I taking it as valid when it's opinion? Not necessarily. And knowing when to stick to your guns, because you may end up birthing a whole new a resurgence of a certain type of film. We might be seeing the new version of film noir at certain periods because you stuck to your guns, and now that's popular again. Everyone has their opinions and they get paid for them. And a lot of times, people in the studio spaces, they're getting paid. I shouldn't say a lot of times, depending on how they were hired. There's people that are master storytellers that are giving you phenomenal insights, and that's what you need to listen to. But if you have people that are just working in finance and it's only looking at the budget, or you're not funding, you're actually being a little bit extra ridiculous about it. You may want to cut the budget based on what the actual needs are of the film. But sometimes you have people that are giving feedback that don't know story. So it is a betrayal of your own instincts if you start amending things and you're listening to the notes and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't even make sense. Make films about betrayal. We all learn from them. We learn how to be better humans, whether it's, something that's dramatic and it's about betrayal of any kind, friendship, relationship, countrymen. The sniper got left and no man left behind, and this one was left behind. There's so many ways that you can show betrayal and connect viewers to your story, and also show us how to be better humans in the process. So don't stop storytelling either way. All right, take care. Be well. Bye.